Welcome everyone to this episode of Mothership Gear hosted by Ildefonso Inc. My name is Monako Davis and I am the head of A&R and sync licensing at Ildefonso as well as the co-owner. Today we have a very special guest. You might recognize him if you watched this series before. His name is Spencer Alfonso. And Spencer, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am Spencer Alfonso. Normally, I host this show, and I thought it would be fun to ask Mo to talk with me about this guitar. So, yeah.
Today, we are talking about the Harmony H165. Spencer, when did you get a hold of this guitar?
So, I don't know if you remember, but I was thinking about it for this episode. I think I got this guitar in 2016 or 2017. I probably was about to move to the warehouse. And I think I remember driving to Hollywood Hills or Sunset or Studio City, a busy street. And it was a kid and he walked down from his apartment. He was probably like 18 or 20. And I was probably 24 or 25. And I think I gave him like $100 for it. And I think the reason why I got this one is because I already had another Harmony electric guitar that I want to do an episode on. And that guitar I loved. And I was so happy with that. I decided I should probably get a vibey acoustic guitar because I think all I had at the time was your dad's nylon Spanish guitar, which is kind of similar to this. And then we had my Yamaha acoustic, which I don't know what happened to that guitar. I was just thinking about that today. So I switched to the Harmony and it kind of did a little bit of both. It gives you a little bit of that classic steel string acoustic guitar sound, but it also kind of sounds like a nylon string guitar.
Yeah,
so
it does.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Very good.
Does
hybrid.
that sound right? Do you remember when I got this at all?
No. I think unless I'm thinking about the time, the only one I can picture is when you got the blue guitar.
Yeah, that was a very memorable story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if I was there for this one.
Yeah, I might have went by myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That must have meant I really wanted to get this guitar. Because usually that's the type of thing you would go with me to go do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually anything, right? Yeah. Okay. So you went all the way to LA when you didn't even live there yet to get this guitar on a busy street. And you love the way it sounds, right? So now you have it. How do you wield this treasured guitar?
Well, at the time, I don't know if it was fully treasured yet because Harmony was still viewed as a like cheaper kind of fun guitar. But as I would say, since I got this guitar, I've seen a lot more people playing them on stage and playing them in the studio and trying to collect them. So I kind of compared these to a lot of the vintage dynamic microphones where at the time it was like very cheap and affordable. And I feel like those prices are going to start creeping up. Or maybe they'll always stay the same, but I'll always want to collect this kind of thing. It's just like weird and cool and practical. So yeah, the action is like pretty high on this one. I think you've played this before and this is not your favorite to play.
I love how it sounds, but man, oh man.
Yeah, you have a Martin D28 and that's a very comfortable guitar.
Yeah, that's what I grew up with.
Yeah.
And yes, it's probably half the action on that.
This guitar makes you work for it. So it's not a guitar that you're going to want to do a lot of accompanying someone else with because it's not necessarily the most fluid guitar. You don't want to be nervous and sweaty when you play this guitar.
It's a main character energy guitar.
Yes, yeah. Like it's lead lines like so yeah, it's not that you can't use it for rhythm. Ironically, it's great for rhythm too, but it's more of a studio guitar, as I think a lot of harmonies are, because you kind of need to know the intonation know the quirks of the guitar and play to its strengths and try to minimize its weaknesses. Or if you are going to use the weakness, you want to be aware of it, and it needs to be intentional, right? So sometimes it's a little out of tune. Sometimes it might be a little fret buzzy. But as long as that's the vibe you were going for, I think it's okay.
Yeah. You're not going to be doing bar chords all day up and down that neck.
I mean, you can, but you're going to want to like nail it pretty quickly in the session.
Yeah. It sounds like wine, how it doesn't matter how expensive it is or how cheap it is. It just matters if you like it or not. You like the taste.
And just to give you guys a better image of it, I didn't do any distressing on this. This is how the kid gave it to me. So I don't think I've added too much to the stories of it, but there are a lot of really key, I think, like battle scars that make me know it's this guitar specifically. Like there's this crack along here that I'm very aware of, and this crack here. I love the way this got shredded. I would love to know, like, I would imagine some kind of like country guy who's like picking really aggressively. I've never shredded a guitar like this has been shredded before.
Yeah, who is this kid, the spawn of Willie Nelson?
Yeah, exactly. Like, so yeah, he gave it to me like this, and I haven't done anything to it. I asked your dad today, actually, if he did anything to it. He said no. So this is probably the most sacred guitar in my collection. Next would probably be yours. Yours is way more valuable, but yours is a well-known, well-respected guitar.
Yeah.
This one is, I feel like it doesn't come with a lot of respect, but to me, it deserves a lot of respect. So you got to be careful because you don't want it to come back tweaked, because it needs to be, and this song I've written the most songs on. So I would say if there was a fire, I would hand you your guitar and I would take this guitar, probably the Rickenbacker.
Okay. And then
you'd have a free hand to open doors.
Okay.
If it was going to come down to where I needed to grab something, I would have grabbed this. Yeah. I think maybe what I did is I think I put the guitars in cases. Yeah, so they're ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's smart.
Yeah.
Always got to be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forgive me if we already touched on this, but what inspired you to get this guitar? I grew up on a movie called That Thing You Do, which was filmed in Orange, and it just felt like a part of my DNA. I loved Iron Giant, and I loved stuff from the 50s and 60s, and I liked this movie called Grand Prix, and I loved Charade. So I just like stuff from that era, and so I started with my first retro style guitar was well, I guess it would be like the Gothic SG that's kind of like Tony Iommi inspired, but that's not really like surf garage band. The one that was the first surf garage band was my Jaguar, and then from the Jaguar I started to want more guitars like that. And so I remember you would call me whenever you'd see weird guitars, and like always look for them, but the Harmony was the one that was most available on Craigslist under $100. And that filter though.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. So I was just like, I'm just going to buy these like $100 Harmony guitars. And yeah, it's something from the 60s, and I don't know if this exact model is a 50s or a 60s model, but from that general era. And I just like knowing that it's old and that it looks cool. It looks very utilitarian, which I like. So yeah, that was the inspiration.
Yeah. And it sounds like it has history.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you using this guitar today?
Yeah. So on a song breakdown, we discussed Swim Through the River, but other vibe would be Telly. So it's like, it's kind of like a Pixies kind of thing.
I can hear that.
So yeah, that that like kind of bar chordy thing, or the lead line for Telly is. Oh. So I'll use it for kind of these like eerie lead lines that kind of change between minor and major kind of scales and kind of go out of what the norm might be. So I think this guitar has like a spookiness to it where it sounds untrustworthy, you know? And so I'll use that for lots of little things where, you know, it's like so like you could do that kind of thing, and when you put chorus on it, it's like what you might do with an electric guitar becomes a little more interesting. And then when you add those like weirder notes, that kind of adds like an interest. And then you can do these like you could grab a slide and get really cool stuff with the action. So I'll just mess around with it until... And I'll just find tunings. Until I have an idea, you know. So. And so like weird stuff like that is what I like to write with it, and find weird melodies to sing along.
And all of these are from the newest Riley and the Roxies record, right?
Yeah, Lasso and stuff that I'm writing now too, I'll use. You could get these, like, again, I like to call them like mischievous kind of Led Zeppelin 3 chords. So yeah, it has so much character, and it, like I said, it's untrustworthy sounding, which I really like.
Yeah. Sort of a house muse, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just whatever you play, it sounds a little dirty, lived in, you know.
I think it has a lot of songs inside of it.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your Harmony H165 with us.
Is that what it is for sure? Because I didn't even know. Is it H265?
The document says
H165. I've never heard that before until researching for this video. So if we sound unsure, it's because we just call it the Harmony.
Yes. Well, thank you nonetheless for sharing your beautiful guitar with us. Sorry. This has been Mothership Gear, hosted by Ildefonso Inc. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter, Ildefonso Inc., and visit our website at ildefonso.co. That's calm without the M. See ya.
Bye.